Welcome back. I already introduced how I was using RemNote for the CPTD exam, as well as how to import this document that you're seeing. So for this video, I'm going to focus on just the parts of building the flashcards, and specifically for this exam. These are the steps I'll look at first for setting up the information, and then later I'll get to the mechanics, so you can join me for as much of that as you like. The first thing that I did was to identify learning objectives for each part of the exam, the knowledge and skill statements. So these are example objectives, and so I've tagged them here as knowledge objectives. It's a learning outcome, it's a theory or a model. You might not care so much about tagging those. But the part that helped me build them into flashcards was to set up a front side that was a question and the back side that was the answer. And then the 2 colons is what makes it into a flashcard. So for all of mine, I found it helpful to identify for knowledge, what is it and what does it focus on? And as I was getting closer to skills, it was especially important to identify when to use it and what's an example of it. So if I had some when to use it and example of it, I included them in the knowledge statements as well. Sometimes the flashcards worked out just how I wanted them to, and sometimes they didn't. So for example, sometimes they left one side blank or the other side blank. So it helped to just at least look down here and see what information they were telling me. So for this one here, the cards, you can see that it is grayed out on the backwards, so this is how the question is going to show. What is it? And then you can figure out what the answer is. That is forward only. Backwards shows it the other way, so if it doesn't show it that way, you can always switch it here. So that's the first thing that we'll look at, just what that looks like. I clicked on, let me go back and go a little bit slower at that. So if I want to see just how this flashcard set works, then I'll click on the dot, and then on the 3 dots I can practice it. So practicing it, I can do it with spaced repetition, and so that draws on the principles that if you don't know it as well, then it'll come up more often. Or since I just want to see how it goes, I'll say practice them all. This is how the flashcard looks. So it shows us the where it is in the knowledge hierarchy, and what we're looking at is defining emotional intelligence. What is it? So if I'm practicing, I can either type it in, but usually I won't get the exact words, so I'll just think through what is emotional intelligence. When I'm ready, I can show the answer and see how close I am. Here's where I can mark how well my recall was, and this is what will pipe it into the spaced repetition. I'll just say 24 hours to move on. What it focuses on, what is emotional intelligence? What is needing to define emotional intelligence? What does that focus on? Applying knowledge to emotions. When do I use that? When do I use that knowledge that I know what emotional intelligence is? And that's an example. And that's it. I will click us past that. You can just click anywhere on the outside to get out of there. I haven't found a really good way to get back to the starting point where I left, because I click on it and it doesn't go. So if anyone else knows, go ahead and tell me. But to take us back, I will go to my full list of the TD BOK and then the CPTD exams. If you were most interested in simple basic flashcards, 1 part, 1 answer, then that's probably the end of it. For some of the TD BOK in the exam sections, there was lists of information. So I'm going to show you how to work with setting up a list and even doing this from scratch. So I'm going to the 2.4 Technology Applications section, and I won't make you see me think through all of this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is copy into here the one learning objective that I had for this section. All right, I actually accidentally clicked on the dot, so I'm going to go back and find that again. It was 2.5a. All right, so I press enter, and then I want to paste it, and I'll just do a plain text so it doesn't mess up any formatting. So there's my objective. Since I have a template in here that will automatically add in the parts, I will use that. It is a skill objective, so I will click on that one. You can see it colored it in here because it added them. There they are. They weren't there before. If you don't have access to the template, then you can just copy and paste these in here. I started using this back summer, and I think it was free for everyone at that point, but it may not be now. So let's build the flashcards from what we have. We have the first part would be the question. What are they? So what are those activities? 2 colons, and then I will paste in. Actually, I already know that it's a list, so I want to put them below so that they will show as a list. This is probably among the most tricky setup just because it doesn't automatically go into a flashcard when it's below them. You can see down here that it's slashed out. It's not a flashcard. But you can easily highlight them. Instead of the bullet, click on the multi-line card item, and it will make them into a flashcard, showing all at the same time once you see the answers. Just as reference, if you do the list card item, it will show one by one. So let's do the multi-card. Let's view that just to see what that looks like. So I clicked on the dot, and then here on the 3 dots, and I'll practice. Okay, what they are, and then here it is. And it shows them all at once. So that's because it was a multi-card. Okay, I'm clicking through into where they all are, just so that you can see what it would do if they were list card items and show one by one. I'll change that. It changes them into numbers. I'll click on the dot again, the 3 dots, and then practice all of them, even though there's only one for right now. So what are they? It starts off with number 1. And it only shows 1. I thought that in the past that it's shown all of them. So oh, there it goes. One at a time. Show answer. So if I do that I couldn't recall it, I think it skips on. But if I do any of the happy faces, then it shows me the next one and the next one. So this is the numbered one. This particular item was not a numbered type of knowledge, so I'm going to move it back to show all at once, multi-line. Just one more time to see how that works, what this knowledge focuses on. Put 2 colons, and I already have this, so I will copy it in, and that's a flashcard right there. Notice it turns into italics, and that's one way you can tell as well. When to use this knowledge, I will copy it in, and that's another flashcard. That is where I'll end on this one, and next time I'll look a little bit closer at tagging.